Hello, welcome. My name is Dr. Sheena C. Howard, founder of Power Your Research, um, creator of nearly a book a year every year over the last 10 years. I am an image activist and diverse storyteller. I also have a creative entrepreneur newsletter or mailing list, if you will, and I'm here to talk to you about how to grow your audience, and how to do that in financially friendly ways. So, not spending a bunch of money on paid Facebook advertisements and YouTube advertisements and things like that that can get really costly really quick. Um, Even if you know what you're doing, they can get really costly really quick. So, we're going to talk about a few different things, primarily using myself as a case study to give you examples of how to grow your Twitter following. I am a writer, so Twitter is my medium of choice. There might be a different medium of choice for you, but I'm going to be talking specifically, at least in this session, on how to grow your Twitter following by about 300 to 500 people in 1 month. I'm also going to talk to you about creating and building your mailing list and why you should have a mailing list and how you can be using your mailing list. I'm going to talk to you about how I use my mailing list and how I've built my mailing list. And then finally, I'm going to talk to you about creating a sales funnel using my Power Your Research platform as a case study just to get just to get the ball rolling for you on what you should be even thinking about in terms of a funnel. And some of you watching this may only have a vague idea of what a funnel is. So we'll get to that, and then we'll wrap this video up. So let's start first by just talking about growing your Twitter follower. And the things that I'm going to talk about here, some of them are universal to all social media, and then some of these things are specific to Twitter because different social media platforms have different ways you can grow your following, and the platforms and algorithms work very differently. So since I'm very comfortable with using Twitter, and that's the platform of my choice, we're going to talk about Twitter. So you might be wondering, what's the use of Twitter? Why would you want people following you? How can you use Twitter to grow your audience, leverage your products, whatever you're selling, or your brand awareness? So Twitter has been the single most important platform for me in terms of networking, in terms of particularly getting media coverage and visibility, because literally every journalist is on Twitter and they respond to their Twitter messages. So with Twitter, once you get someone to start following you and you follow them, you can send them a direct message. So effectively, you have direct access to a journalist that might write for a number of outlets or a specific outlet that you want to be featured in. So that's just one of the reasons why growing your Twitter follower and being engaged on Twitter is super important. Okay. Also, just in terms of having social proof, when you have a lot of social media followers and Twitter followers, when someone that you might want to connect with looks at your page and they see that you have a large following, that signifies to them that there's some social proof there. There's a reason why all of these people are following you, and it gives them more of an incentive to want to engage with you and follow you back and retweet your stuff and that sort of thing. Now, some people tend to think about a social media following in a more vain way, meaning they just want to have more followers just to say that they have more followers because it makes them feel good. But if you if you're if you just want more followers, that's great. You can spend money to get more followers, but followers are not necessarily going to mean more engagement. Followers are not necessarily going to mean that you have the right people following you that's supporting your brand and being ambassadors for your brand. And followers certainly don't mean that you're going to be making sales. There's articles out there where people have, 10,000, 20,000 followers and they can't even sell 5 t-shirts to their followers. So just because you see someone with a lot of followers, one, you don't know how they got all of those followers. There are lots of different ways to get all of those followers. Some ways are on the up and up and some aren't. So I like to tell people that having a large social media following doesn't have much to do with marketing. And I consider marketing being able to sell your products, whether it's a book, whether it's a e-course, whatever it is. Having social media followers is more like promotion. It's more like visibility. Yes, you have all of these people following you who you can create more brand awareness with, who you can, hopefully engage with. But that doesn't mean that you're engaging in marketing or what I'm calling sales. So you want to just kind of get that point straight with yourself. So if you're sitting here thinking, I really want to grow my social media following, think about why you want to do that, right? I don't want to just grow my social media following to make my ego feel good. I actually want to grow my social media following because I want to connect with the people that could benefit from the services and products that I'm sharing and providing to the world. So with that said, other things that a large social media following can unlock are things like, your ability to do social media influencing and charge for that, your ability to get paid promotion deals, your ability to get advertising money. So on mostly all of the platforms, if you have a certain number of followers and popularity on your Twitter page or YouTube page, people do start reaching out to you to pay you to share stuff on your platforms. Now, I personally I like to do social media influencing for those in the comics world, to help those in the comics world reach a larger audience by using my socials and promoting their work. But that's about as far as I go in accepting money to promote things, because I want to use my platform to share, my views, my voice, and my services to my followers. So there is something to say. There are some benefits to having a large social media following. You just want to get clear with yourself on what your goals are, and why you're actually looking to grow your following. So if you want to quickly get 300 to 500 Twitter followers, if you go to any blog post, it's going to tell you a few things that you should do. It's going to tell you to tweet frequently. It's going to tell you to reshare people's stuff. It's going to tell you to engage in commenting on other people's stuff. And all of those things do work. It's just that they take a really, really, really long time, and it's not a tried and true way to grow your following consistently and quickly. So one of the things that I know actually works to grow your following and do it in a way that doesn't violate any of Twitter's terms of service is a Fiverr gig, which I'm going to share my screen now to show you this gig. And this gig will help you grow your Twitter following, I'd say about by 300 to 500 people, maybe more, depending on you know what your page is doing right now. But when you see this, it says, I will grow your Twitter page organically. The key word is organically. This gig on Fiverr, right, it's not going to specify, hey, I'm going to get you 1,000, 2,000, 3,500 Twitter followers, because it's not going to do that, because like it says, it's organic. So I can tell you that I've used this service a couple of times, and each time I've gotten between 300 and 500 followers. But the great thing about it is that these are actually followers that are engaging with my content. They actually want to follow me. So there's not a service where there are any bots. It's not a service where people are being paid to follow you or anything like that. It actually is a service where they figure out what your target audience is, who are the types of people that would be interested in your brand, your products, who you are, and it starts engaging with those people, and those people are actually real people on Twitter. They look through your feed and see if they want to follow you, and then they follow you. That's why, this is not something where it's like, oh, you're cheating, or It's just going to be a bunch of crazy bots following you. That is absolutely not the case with this gig, and this is why I am sharing this with you. So when you see people who are in a similar niche area as you and doing something similar as you, and their Twitter following is growing exponentially, and you're doing all the things that you're supposed to be doing, like tweeting frequently and resharing people's stuff and engaging, and your followers are not growing so much. A lot of these people are using different services to do this. Some people have influencers share their page, and there are a bunch of different services that you can look into, as long as they're not violating any of the platform's terms of service, and as long as you're getting organic followers, actually real people who actually want to follow you, I'd highly suggest it. So for this, if you go to Fiverr, Fiverr.com, look up the username here, VASI 36. You'll spend $50 and you'll get about 300 to 500 people following you that actually want to follow you, and it takes 30 days. So you can see that this is legit. It's not just someone, paying people to follow you. It's actually organic followers. So yeah, that's one secret sauce that you should go ahead and try out for yourself, and let me know. Reach out to me and let me know how it goes. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is creating and building a mailing list. And some of you may be, on the fence about building a mailing list, not sure if you should, not sure why you should. So I'm going to talk to you about, why you might want to have a mailing list. So I have three different mailing lists. I have a mailing list for my Power Your Research platform, which is a platform designed to help academics and independent scholars get media coverage and visibility for themselves and their research. And then I have a mailing list for creatives. Sorry, for creatives. Sorry. I have a mailing list for creatives, and that's my creative entrepreneurship mailing list. And everything that I send out emails to the mailing list for my creatives mailing list probably about 2 to 4 times a month, and it's all about creative entrepreneurship, different tools you can use to make money as a creative entrepreneur, support and resources for creative entrepreneurs, any grants that I come across, any free programs, even paid programs that I come across that I think would help the niche area of creative entrepreneurs. I also use it to let my mailing list know that I have services and products that have just released that they may be interested in. And so it's just a way for me to gauge and talk directly to my niche audience. And the great thing about a mailing list is you're not relying on social media and their algorithm to talk to the people that are interested in the things that you're sharing, right? Nobody knows what the Twitter algorithm is. Nobody knows what the Instagram algorithm is. Sometimes, they'll show your post to 1,000 people. Sometimes it will seem like they didn't show it to anyone. With a mailing list, these are people that you can communicate with directly and when you want. And so you have control over sharing your content and selling things to your mailing list. So that's the biggest advantage of having a mailing list. And sometimes when you think about a mailing list, you think, well, I don't have 20,000 people, that might want to join my mailing list. I'm talking about mailing lists as small as even 200, 250 people. Even a mailing list of only 200 and 250 people can allow you to sell your products and services and engage with your community and make some real money targeted at the people that you can actually help, the people who will buy your products because it's going to benefit them in some way. So here are some ways that I know work because I've used them to build your mailing list. First, right now it's COVID-19, so we're not doing face-to-face events, but I will say, when I used to do like book signings, I would have a piece of paper and a pen out on the table, and I would say, hey, if you want to join my mailing list, write your name here and your email address. So I would get tons of people into my mailing list that way. You do have to go back to your computer and put those in, one by one on your own, but you can hire a virtual assistant for that if you don't want to do that task yourself. So, now, the ways to build your mailing list in the online environment, when you're not able to connect with people face to face, the one way that I've seen that worked the fastest for me was offering a free webinar. Okay, record a video just like the one that I'm recording, turn it into a webinar, and then tell people, hey, I'm offering this free webinar. Log in here, and as soon as they register for the webinar, you collect their email address and it goes right to your the platform wherever you store email addresses. I use mailchimp.com, but there are a lot of service providers outside of Mailchimp that people use. Now, for webinars, I use a service called everwebinar.com. That's EVER webinar.com. And the reason why I like EverWebinar is because they give people a live experience even for recorded webinars. So when someone logs into your webinar, it feels live, right? Even though it's not live. And you may have seen Webinar Jam. It's the same company, Webinar Jam and Ever Webinar. I don't typically like to do live webinars as much. I rather record them and then share them out. So you might be wondering, okay, that's great if you can collect email addresses by sharing a free webinar, but then how do you get people into the webinar? Well, one, you're going to share it on your social media. So you'll be working on growing your social media and your followers. So you share it on your social media. If you have people who follow you on social media that like your content, of course, they're going to want to log into your webinar because it's free, and they want to get the information from you so that they can be better or do something better. And the other way that you can get people into your free webinar is, of course, Facebook ads. I caution you against Facebook ads because Facebook ads are a cheap way to lose money quickly. Okay. And I say that because you can run Facebook ads at, $5 a day and that kind of thing, but they add up so quickly, especially if you don't know what you're doing. And the courses to learn how to do Facebook ads properly cost thousands and thousands of dollars, and then you still need money to run the Facebook ads. And Facebook ads require a lot of testing the audience, testing your pixel, and all of those things. And testing costs money, right? To find the right audience, to find the right creative and the ad and everything like that. So I would say try these techniques that I'm teaching you in this video before you just go ahead and start really using Facebook ads and losing a lot of money quick. Now, once you get people in your webinar, you're getting email addresses, you're selling your products, and you're making a little bit of money. By all means, start using Facebook ads because your business has the money to spend on Facebook ads, right? Or hire somebody to do the Facebook ads who know what they're doing. So free webinars, great way to get people into your mailing list and to get them in quickly. Post those webinars on listservs, right? Every organization, every sort of niche area has a listserv. And if you're affiliated with any of these listservs, you're just going to post something on those listservs. Hey, here's a free webinar that you might be interested in. You want to post your webinar, text or ad on a listserv that is obviously in front of an audience that is specific to the thing that you're selling. So for example, my Power Your Research platform, where I help academics and independent scholars gain media attention and visibility for their work. Well, I'm going to post that free webinar ad on listservs that are specific to education and higher education, because I know that the people that are watching those listservs and the ads that come up on those listservs are my target audience. The other way that you can build your mailing list quickly is by doing a giveaway. So that means, you say, hey, there's a contest. I'm giving away one of my books or my products or whatever it is. You can enter here. It only takes a couple of minutes. I'll choose one winner. And when they enter into your giveaway, you automatically get their email address. So I use a service called Rafflecopter. Rafflecopter. That's Rafflecopter. Rafflecopter.com. And that sets it all up for you. You name your giveaway, you say what the reward is, and the way it works is when someone enters into your giveaway, they have an option to like get more entries, so increase their chances of winning by sharing the giveaway with other people. So that way not only are you getting the email address of this one person, but hopefully this person is sharing the giveaway with 5 other people, and then they're entering too, and then these things can go viral really 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 quickly, and they can rapidly increase your mailing list, and then you have people in your mailing list who are your direct target audience. Now, you never want to do a giveaway that's not targeted at a specific audience, because you don't just want people in your mailing list just to have them there. Now, another point about mailing list is that, people are going to unsubscribe to your mailing list, and that's fine. That's part of it. If people unsubscribe to your mailing list, then you don't want them on your mailing list anyway, because that's not a person that's going to buy something from you. And really, a mailing list is to stay engaged with people that want to stay engaged with you, and to let people that are interested in your stuff know that you have products and services that you're offering. So you'll see people rapidly unsubscribing from your mailing list. But if you do the things that I'm talking about in this video, they'll also, as people unsubscribe, there'll also be people subscribing. So, keep up with the free webinars, keep up with the giveaways every now and then. When you get to a place where your business is making money, run some Facebook ads to your free webinar, into the different ways to get people into your mailing list, to keep replenishing that mailing list. And oftentimes people come and go from your mailing list, a couple of times a month, or a few times a year. People's email boxes are clogged these days. So don't take offense when someone unsubscribes to your mailing list. Okay. So let's talk about funnels. Okay. And a funnel it's a sales funnel. And what a funnel is, it's the steps that people take to become your customer. It's the steps that people take to become your customer. And when you're running a business, or trying to sell something, you need to have a funnel, because you need to know where people are at in your funnel, so that you can turn them into customers. You can't just be on social media telling people, hey, I offer this service and product. You have to have a funnel. Okay. So uh, let me give you an example with my Power Your Research platform. So Power Your Research, again, is a platform designed to help academics and independent scholars gain media coverage and visibility for themselves and their work. Underneath the Power Your Research platform, there are a suite of e-courses. So there's the Get Media Coverage and Visibility e-course, there's the Get Paid Speaking Engagements e-course, and then there's 2 free e-courses underneath the platform. And so I know where people who are not customers, so that's people who haven't bought the e-course yet, I know where people are in my funnel, because I have a step-by-step sales funnel. And I'll show you 2 paths to my sales funnel. One is, here's one funnel: free webinar, mailing list, email sequence. So that means step 1, I get them into my free webinar using some of the examples that I just gave you about how to get people into your webinar. Once they get into the webinar, I automatically collect their email address, and the webinar service provider is connected to my MailChimp. So the email address automatically goes to MailChimp. It automatically goes to my mailing list called Power Your Research. Once they get into that mailing list, every time I launch my e-course, I do a launch email sequence. So it's a series of 4 emails to my mailing list saying something like, hey, the Power Your Research e-course has launched. There's only 5 days left before the course closes again. Make sure you get in now. So I do a launch sequence of 4 emails. And, the research shows that you're going to convert about 2% of your mailing list. So you can do the math, right? If whether you have 250 people in your mailing list or 5,000, if and 2% is, I've tested it out, 2% is likely what you're going to convert anytime you do sort of a e-course launch. So you take, you do the math, 0.02 times however many people you have in your in your mailing list, and that'll give you the number as to how many people you're going to convert and how many sales you're going to convert. Now with that sales funnel, webinar, mailing list, customer, I know where people are in the funnel, right? I know how many email addresses I have in my webinar service. I know if I've sent them a launch email sequence yet. So I know about how many people I'm going to be able to convert the next time I launch my course. um, and of course you can create multiple webinars and use the same sales funnel. So let me give you another example of a different sales funnel. Same business, power your research. So I have a private Facebook community. Okay. And in the Facebook group, I give a lot of free content. I engage with the members. I make sure that I do videos so they can see my face. I make sure that I just engage with them in multiple ways. I offer them discounts and things like that. So once I get people into my Facebook group, they're in my sales funnel, right? That's step one, Facebook group. I engage with them, offer them content, and then I promote my courses to them. Same thing when I launch my course, I say, hey, here's a special discount, $15 off since you are in the private Facebook group. And I know that, again, I'm going to convert probably Facebook group, you're going to convert 2% of the people that are in the Facebook group. But now, I know I'm converting a certain amount of people in my mailing list. I know I'm converting a certain number of people in my Facebook group. Now you can see that I have a system to selling my products, and I have a specific audience that is in my mailing list that I know will be interested in the thing that I'm selling. So you might be saying, how do you get people into the Facebook group? Sort of the same methods that we already talked about here today. Grow your social media following. Let them know that there's a free private Facebook community. Go to listservs that are targeted at the audience that would be interested in your Facebook group. And then once you start making a little bit of money, maybe using some Facebook ads, YouTube ads, and that kind of thing. So that's just sort of a case study example of what a sales funnel can look like. There's so many different opportunities to create sales funnels, but what you need to know is that it's a step-by-step system to making someone a customer. You may be watching this and you may say, hey, I offered this really great book to people at a really great price and only 2 people bought it. Well, you have to get them into a funnel and you have to make it a systematic process to turn people into customers. Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed this video and learned some things, and hopefully I'll be able to do more sessions like this.